For the longest, I used to think, maybe with all these Muslims who are going out killing people, that these people are wrong, that they're misinterpreting the Quran, or they're taking it too literally. Maybe they are exaggerating it a little too much. They're completely just blowing it out of proportion. This can't be the literal interpretation of the Quran and the Hadiths. But you know what, guys? What separates us from majority of the rest of the world is not presumption. We don't want to make false assertions, correct? We want to make sure what we say is actually factually true and that there's no room for misinterpretation. Well, I'm one of those people who likes to do their research. I like to consider myself to be mentally astute before I even express my opinion on a subject, and make sure that it is an informed opinion and not just an opinion. There's a huge difference. There's a distinction that needs to be pointed out between a person that has an opinion and who's speaking out of ignorance in comparison to a person who has actually done their homework and have an informed opinion, and they're actually speaking from fact. Then you have absolute truth. What's the absolute truth about the Quran and the Hadiths? Well, we know that Sahih Bukhari, we know that is one of the most authoritative hadiths that Muslims use. He is one of the most renowned Muslim scholars. And a lot of people go to his interpretations of the hadith for the answers to something that may not be clear in the Quran, which you need the hadiths in order to understand the Quran, because the Quran is not written in chronological order. Wow, can you believe that? Anyway, we know that the Quran has a lot of historical inaccuracies as far as locations, especially when you're talking about Petra and Mecca. Majority of the mosques that they were built when Islam started faced towards Petra, not Mecca. There's a lot of there's been a lot of revisions to even the oldest Qurans. They do not coincide with each other. Things have been ripped out, things have been edited, and etc. And so what's really crazy about this, you guys, is that what actually solidifies each and every claim, or I'm going to say factual claim, when we say that the Quran teaches hate, when there is a terrorist attack perpetrated by a Muslim, that solidifies the non-believer's claim. But even beyond that, there are millions and millions of people who have actually stated that the Quran is a book of violence, even before the 1900s. But now we're living in the year 2000s, okay? Well, we can keep track of each and every terrorist attack. How come there has been thousands upon thousands of people murdered in the name of Allah? And then we hear these people that always say, well, no, they're misinterpreting the Quran. You mean to tell me for 1400 years people have been misinterpreting the Quran? Really? You mean to tell us for 1400 years that people have had the wrong outlook on Muhammad? Even Sahih Bukhari. Not to even mention the rest of the other different hadiths. They all viewed Muhammad the wrong way. They're misinterpreting the Quran. There are over 100 plus kill surahs in that Quran. And you mean to tell me for 1400 years, all these people have it wrong? You mean to tell me that all these people who are raging jihadists, these muhajideens as they want to call themselves, you mean to tell me they're misinterpreting your Quran? That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. How they say that that Islam is the religion of peace when Islam means submission. You know what, you guys? When you Muslims stop being dishonest, stop being intellectually dishonest too, and stop being disingenuous. And when you actually say, well, you know what, and you tell the truth and you say, well, maybe we need to revise the Quran? No, it's not a maybe. It's definitely a yes that you need to revise your Quran. It is a book of death and rape, systematic oppression, tyranny, it's totalitarianism. We all know that. Sharia law is Islamic jurisprudence that dictates each and every aspect of your life, even if you are a Muslim or a non-Muslim. And we know that Sharia law is not compatible with the United States Constitution. Here's another thing when you Muslims have me mistaken. My channel, predominantly my videos cover Islam. So don't act like as if you're talking to a person who is completely illiterate and who's speaking out of ignorance. I have done my due diligence. Please do not insult my intelligence by you being intellectually dishonest and disingenuous. I can never ever trust a person who even follows a religion that says you have the right to lie. If anything makes Islam look bad, each and every video that I have on Islam can be substantiated by your own literature. Please do not come to me with this notion of thinking that I am misinformed or that I have something misconstrued. No, I go according by your scholars. I watch what Muslims do on a continual basis all over the entire globe. Islam is terrorizing everyone. Anywhere Islam goes, they terrorize them. I have been observing how Christians are nearly extinct in the Middle East, and that is where Christianity started. And let me tell you something, they are not nearly extinct because they're joining Islam on free will. It's called compulsion of religion, and you guys have been doing this for 1,400 years, and you're not going to change because you are to model Muhammad. Stop playing with us thinking we are stupid. Our society has a way higher literacy rate. We do our research. Majority of us read, and what's a sad fact is that majority of Muslims haven't even read the Quran. Can't even recite the Quran. Your whole premise is even flawed. It's so fallacious that you really think that people have the true interpretation of your Quran when you had a national Quran burning day. Huh? What about all that kind of stuff when you look at the Islamic history? As I said before, your book is scientifically inaccurate, it's historically inaccurate, it's logically absurd. It's not written in chronological order, and it's nothing but plagiarism, and it's the poorest form of plagiarism I have ever seen in my life. Your religion does not make any sense whatsoever. And if you say this is racism, that just shows just how idiotic and moronic you actually think. Islam is not a freaking race. It is ideology, and it has the right to be scrutinized. But here's the thing with your hypocrisy. You say, well, you have no right to talk about Muhammad or offend Muhammad. No, we're not offending Muhammad or talking bad about Muhammad when we actually state what is written in the Quran and the Hadiths. That's your own literature. You take that up with your scholars. But what's even crazier is that I cannot stand it when you guys know it's disrespectful to us for you to say that Jesus Christ is not God, when you know that we were started 600 years plus before Islam even came around. That's offensive to us. But you don't see us cutting your heads off. You don't see us bombing you or locking you up when you say that, oh, you see Isa as a prophet, and your Isa is not our Isa. So you guys need to stop this. This is insane. This is asinine. Stop thinking we Americans are dumb, because we're not. We do our research. I'm a defender of my country. I'm a defender of my homeland. I protect our rights. I protect our United States Constitution. I'm damn sure going to protect them from an inimical, savage, 7th century, totalitarian, barbaric ideology. And we damn sure don't want your Sharia law. You can call me a hater. You can call me a xenophobe. You can call me an Islamophobe. You know what? You coin those phrases, and let me tell you something. It doesn't make it true. I do not have a phobia towards anyone, but I can tell you something. I don't put up with savagery and barbarism that should be left in the 7th century. And if you want to call me a hater for having common sense and for having my faculties in order, whatever. Call it whatever you want to call it. But let me just tell you something. We are not dumb. We do our research. I'm the defender of my country. You Muslims have 50 countries, but yet you always want to keep coming to the Christian lands, destroying our lands, sucking off of our resources, disrespecting us at the same time. Where do you see Christians trying to move to Muslim countries in droves? You guys have 50 countries, and yet you can't even provide for yourselves. That tells you something about your ideology. You need a reality check. This is Christian Duran, and you guys have been red pilled. To all my subscribers, thank you for subscribing to my channel and watching my videos. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But you know what? Before I sign off, I want to address something else too, okay? The racism with these Middle Easterners. Every time I post something that you don't like, you want to call me a house N-word. But you know what? You don't call anyone else a house N-word, but you only call me a house N-word because I'm black? That's racism. That's the true face of racism, you idiots. Let me tell you something. When you start a fire, let me tell you something. My fire burns in the right way. It burns in the right way, and you can't put it out. You hear me? Never. Never would the true patriots of the Western world ever yield to Islam. Never, ever will we think that your prophet was a true prophet or holy. There's no way we can think that a man that never told any prophecies can be called a prophet. He violated, he broke all the 10 commandments. He had no morals, he had no ethics, he had no scruples whatsoever. Any person that believes you have the right to rape a woman and take them as sex slaves and even have sex with a little girl, have you lost your freaking mind? A man that went around and he raped and pillaged, who personally beheaded over 300 Jews himself? He was responsible for over 50 plus terror raids? Then think you have the right to impose a jizya tax on non-believers? Talking about you protect them? Have you lost your freaking mind? Have a good one.